What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into a couple important things in this video. Uh, as you can see by the title, I am going to be going into our first official NFL game. I guess the Hall of Fame game we played, and we got that, but as far as the NFL season, and I love this game. I love the fact that it's prime time, and I'm going to go into why I think it's a slam dunk in just a minute. Speaking of slam dunks, here's one if you watch my last video, as I've gone into, I meant it quite literally. Every single pick we're going to do, I'm going to post ahead of time, and then we're going to touch on it later that night or the next day, because it's just the only way to show, without a shadow of a doubt, by following the system, that we're going to keep profiting like last year. So here's one was an interesting one. We had Colorado covering, of course, and they covered, which is nice. They did win too, which was a surprise to me. I when you have this much public love behind the team, of course you never really know where the public money is. Usually Vegas is a little stingy with paying out, but in this case with this story, like I said, they're not going to let Deion Sanders get embarrassed. This team had such a bad year last year. They're building them like they're the replacements. If you watch the movie The Replacements, that's what they remind me of. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they started doing some, like, goofy, comical shit on the field, almost like a movie. But, props to them. They had great, scripted, amazing games. This was just an insane game. I didn't watch it, but just, like, following Twitter, every third comment was like, this is bullshit, this is rigged. Okay, so a team with one win is now destroying, all these different things. The team that was just in the national championship. Right after this, Boise State, Washington wasn't much different. I didn't play that game, but I looked into it, and just people all over week 1, week 0, or whatever it is in college, and people are already saying, this is bullshit, there's something wrong here. And it's because these stories are too ridiculous, But this was a nice, easy win. We played 3 games. Our other play was, most of them are pretty safe, and I'm going to go into that now. So here's our system, just to update people that have not seen any of this playlist yet. Again, this is literally what I did all year last year, only it was like my notes go all the way down because we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plays. But we started off with the Browns covering the Jets. We got that. Started off football Saturday, got the first 2. Missed Florida beating Utah. We missed Miami. And then this week we did good. We got, I should say yesterday, we did good. We had Colorado with the cover. We had Oklahoma with the cover. Both very easy. Again, just thought they were suspicious lines. And then South Carolina. That I thought it was a suspicious line. But, again, they're not always going to be 100%. If it looks like a suspicious line, it is. Sometimes it's just an as-advertised beatdown. And basically UNC was the better team here. Now, again, in my last video, I went into leg 1, leg 2. And what that is, essentially, it's just the rig system that I've created. It's a complex martingale. If you've seen those videos, you already know that. I'm not going to dwell on that too much. But as you can see, and this is why this system is so highly effective. If you look down, and with football, it's the most because you get dead even spreads. It's tougher, like I'm doing with baseball as well, as a lot of people are on my membership service. I do it for baseball. We did it for hockey. Hockey worked out really well. It varies from sport. Football is the best because you're getting dead even 50-50 lines. So you can play the money line, but we're not really going to get juiced by taking teams, where, like, again, baseball, you can't really pick favorites straight up, or, straight up. You got to go with lines. So this is probably, I'd say, college football, one of our most efficient sports. College basketball is by far, with the small sample, we've done every sport once now, and now this is the second time around. College basketball was ridiculous what we did with college basketball. Literally not knowing any of the players, we must have hit 65%. Anyway, not to go on a tangent, the reason this system is so important is if you look down just from the games we've played, we have profited 5 units. Now, this doesn't even include the ones that I put on, last minute ones that I put on my Buy Me a Coffee. Utah, Iowa, 43.5 is very low. So I posted that play today. We did hit that one. And again, we don't hit them all, every one that I post. I had Hawaii too, but for the most part, it's just some extra ones that I find. Anyone that I can do a video of, I will. But sometimes I have no time, so I just throw it on there. But you can see we got we closed 5 sequences. Oklahoma came through today. Colorado came through today. San Jose, we got that one in the season opener. Notre Dame and the Browns. Now I'm counting NFL and NCAA congruently. To me, they're going to be one big year. So I'm going to be doing leg 1, might be a college game. Leg 2 might be an NFL game. So going into this, we've already closed 5 units. Now let's say, and not to get too ahead of ourselves, but you can see I have a leg 3 here. I do like the Lions here to cover the Chiefs. And it's another game that I've been loving this game. I've mentioned it like 5 times. I've been loving this game ever since the schedule was dropped. I don't understand why the Lions are suddenly this favorite to win the division and this wild card team that people are treating like they are contenders. So I know for a fact nobody's going to be on Detroit. I know people are going to be all over Kansas City saying a mere touchdown is not that much. And they're at home. So I'll go into that right now and why I like the Lions. But let's say hypothetically we lose that. Okay? That would be 7 units in total. We got Florida, we got Miami over, and we got Lions. So let's just say we were to lose that. That's a 7-unit loss. We've already picked up 5 units, 6 including this one here because I threw this one in last minute on my Buy Me a Coffee. But just going by the YouTube playlist, we profited 5 units. We only need to profit 2 more units. So we just need to win 2 more sequences before, that don't go to a leg 3 and lose. And we've already broke even if, and this is a big if the Lions are not to cover the Chiefs. So this would be hypothetically a minus 7 unit loss, right? If it didn't work out, which would leave us currently right around minus 1 unit, almost a break even. And this isn't picking 90%, as you can see. We've picked just a little bit above 50%, around 60%. But the reason we don't get juiced is because of the system that I use. So I didn't want to bore people, but I don't think people understand just how important this system is and the reason I use it. So in this case, you have an unranked team that won 1 game last year, yes, with a good rebuild, playing the national champs runner-up, yes, without Max Duggan, but still doesn't make sense in my opinion that Colorado would win unless we're in a scripted league. And I swear, like, after the game, just after the game alone, the analytics from the video I did on Colorado just skyrocketed because comparatively to the other videos, because again, people were just questioning every little thing. It's too storybook like that they're pumping up Dion, and then he just comes out of here and takes just a horrible team and wins. But like I said, I'll take it any day of the week. The cover just seemed very, very obvious. And I know a few people on my Discord who sprinkled the money line, so good job for you guys, everyone that played the money line. You had basically a guaranteed hedge. In the fourth quarter, you could have hedged at plus odds for TCU, or you might have rode it and took the 7-1. Either way, good job. And we're going to take advantage of some money lines this year. And speaking of taking advantage of money lines, here's one right here. I'm personally playing the spread, but I absolutely love the Lions in this game. Like, if I'm going to pick an upset, and I'll probably sprinkle, like, just a tiny bit. Usually I'll do, like, 20-30% of my total bet. So maybe, like, a quarter unit I'll do on the money line, and then if I'm doing it would be 3/4 on the cover, and then like a quarter on the money line. So either way, I could profit, assuming they cover but don't win. But I absolutely love the Lions here. I like them for the cover. As you can see, they're at 6.5. It moved from 7 to 6.5. My books offer in minus 118 for 7. So that's what I'm taking. That's what I locked. So as you can see, Lions cover Chiefs 7 points is going to be leg 3 of the Miami-Ohio, Miami-Florida loss. I had that game going over, narrowly missed because of some more shenanigans is all I'll say. We've won some because of shenanigans, and we're going to lose some because of shenanigans. Basically, the dude was about to score. Ref called him out at bounds when he never stepped out of bounds, and it took a 1st and goal all the way back to midfield, and the cover just missed by a few points. But again, that's all stuff that we know is going to happen. Unfortunately, that's just what's going to happen. But I've been saving this Lions cover Chiefs because I was going to play Colorado covers as the leg 3. Obviously, in retrospect, I wish I had just said, you know what, I know this is a safe game, but I feel like the Lions is safer. And I've been feeling like that for a while. I saw this game and immediately liked it. I saw the Lions, immediately liked it. And them starting off the season upsetting the Chiefs is a nice story. It just makes way more sense from almost every angle than the Chiefs just winning this game. Also, I think Chris Jones is going to be a big issue. I think it's going to be they're going to really act like without him, this team is significantly worse. Many people would probably expect, they'll still get through. They got Pat. But yeah, I really expect the Lions to cover this game. And again, I think there's a very good chance they win. So sprinkling on the money line for like plus 250, 300, it should be around, I think is a great play. Now, again, the reason I like it is I went into this in another video. I don't think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs this year. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but my theory is he's the new Tom Brady. Brady won a Super Bowl, missed the playoffs. Then he won 2 more. Now, Mahomes won 2 already, and he's been to 3. But I still find it very interesting, and I think this would be the perfect year for them to have a letdown year. They're really pushing Trevor Lawrence. I think they want to get behind Tua. Lamar's got a story now. They're getting behind Herbert. There are so many guys. I don't think the Colts and Richardson or CJ and the Texans are going to do anything. But you have young quarterbacks that they want to develop. Bills are another one. I've been talking to people, and I'm not even the first one to bring it up. I am sorry for forgetting who it was. I try and remember everybody's name. But it was brought up to me, and you could let me know in the comments. I'll pin you, whatever. I'll remember. Might be Double P. I'm trying to remember. When it told me why they think the Bills might have a bad year. And I completely agree. Basically what they think is going to happen with the Bills, I think is going to happen with the Chiefs. But I'm wondering if both teams don't have great years. I really am. Both teams are in divisions where I think there's other teams in those divisions that have stories that they're not going to want to overshadow. So with the Jets and the Dolphins, obviously, I'm not sure if they have the Bills run roughshod again. And then with Jimmy G with the Raiders and with the Chargers who've been just right on the outside every year, and the Broncos specifically, Russell Wilson just paid a little bit of a penance, if you will. I'm not loving the Chiefs this year. So, yeah, my first official NFL regular season video. Like I said, we played the Hall of Fame game. I absolutely love the Lions here on the cover, and I think they're going to win the game. I could say this way. If you're doing like a player pool and you're picking winners, I'm picking the Lions in this game, and I'm going to sprinkle some on them. But since I'm very methodical about my system, that I like to make sure that I only play for leg 1, 2s, and 3s, games that I absolutely love. So while making this leg 3 just for them to win would be really nice, because if they did win, we're netting way more than 1 unit, because if they're 3-1, and it would be 4 units at 3-1, so that's 12 units. Maybe not quite 3-1, but they're going to be something like that, 2.5. So obviously, I'd love to do that, but it's just I've learned more often than not, you're not going to get the plus 2, 300s, obviously. So I'm sticking with the cover. Like I said, there's still no harm in throwing a unit on them to win. If they cover, you're still going to make a small profit, and you still, if you put money on them to win, obviously you can profit a lot more. But it's not one that I'm willing to just make a leg 3 Lions win. I don't have that much faith in it, but I do have the faith in they'll cover, because I think people's logic is going to be, if the Chiefs win, they'll probably win by a touchdown. This isn't the Jets. This isn't the Chargers. Even these teams, the Jets, the Chargers, whoever, the Cowboys even. You can go as far as the Cowboys. I think those are the type of teams that people are expecting to compete with the Chiefs. I don't think people are expecting the Lions to compete with the Chiefs. I think the Lions are going to be that team this year that nobody believes in until they're like 12-5 and they're already in the playoffs, and people still don't believe in them. They probably get like a first-round upset. Just the vibe I'm getting from them. And I think comparatively, the Vikings just fall off. So I went into this in earlier videos. I love the Lions to win that division, and I love the Vikings to miss the playoffs. So yeah, that's basically it. Again, we went 2 for 3 today. Oklahoma was a nice, easy cover. I stopped counting in the 60s. I don't think They were even scored on, so we got that. And yeah, like I said, very early into the season, and we're doing well. Lions, obviously, an important leg 3. It's going to be our first leg 3 of the NFL season. And I'll go more into the system for those who don't really know how the system works. But most of you guys are pretty familiar with it, so I don't like to be redundant since it's been covered so many times. As you can see, South Carolina did not beat UNC. That was our lone football loss today. So I'll have a leg 2 set up for that. It's probably going to be an NFL game. One game I do like, I just posted it. While I'm here, I might as well go into it. I do like Florida State. This is tomorrow. So instead of just making a whole separate video just for the purpose of making it, I've gone into this before. I like Florida State to win. It's going to be a simple leg 1. Okay. So just Florida State beats LSU. And the reason I like them is, and again, this is not a science. It doesn't mean it's always going to happen. But the reason I like them is I've noticed a lot of times you'll have, a New York team win, a New York team lose. You'll have LA team win, the other LA team loses. A Texas team wins, the other one loses. So far, every Florida team's lost their season opener. Now, with how they all were made the playoffs last year, you had the Panthers, you had the Florida Atlantic, you had obviously the Heat. People were saying, man, Florida's doing everything together. You wonder if they're all going to lose, all the major teams. USF lost, Florida lost, and Miami lost. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Miami won. So one of the Florida teams won. But the other 2 main ones lost, and then obviously the game today. So I do find it interesting, and the way Florida, I think basically they're going to have one team represent Florida. So we're probably not going to have 2 or 3 teams from Florida that are ranked this year or that do really, really well. I think Miami could maybe get it to a high ranking or, I guess a low ranking, like mid-20s. But FSU here, I think they're going to win the game. This one, nothing suspicious about the line. 2 very, very good teams. Yes, FSU's at home, but I don't think it makes a giant difference with these 2 teams. And, yeah, I think the line's about right. So I'm going more for the story. And I think they want a Florida team to be in a top 10 ranked team. So I think that's going to be Florida State. After seeing Miami look good, but not overwhelmingly good against Miami, Ohio, and after seeing the Gators look pretty bad, they just lost their quarterback from last year. So I think FSU will be the team to establish themselves. So as you can see, it's just going to be leg 1 to win 1 unit. And I will have a leg 2 for the loss on South Carolina. So the goal here is to close all of these sequences, okay? So it'll look something like this after they're done. Now, sometimes it'll be more than a unit, which is great, but that's essentially what we do. And whether we win or lose on leg 3, I close it out. We don't perpetually chase with this system because I've done it a few times and it just doesn't work. The value does not hold up. You'd have to win back 15 units, and I've done it a very few times. I think 5 total of the several hundreds and upon hundreds of games we've done. And of the 5, I think we've closed 2 of the 5. So, that's not something we want 40% on leg 4s. And I just learned the values on stopping it after leg 3 is the way to go. It's way too easy for us to profit 7 units. No need to just chase. So you'll see the people that do really well are going to be the ones who just follow the system and don't chase. So that's essentially it. I think it's very interesting with Colorado here. I'm going to watch them this year. I think we're going to, just like this week, have some very easy covers, and we're going to get some upsets as well. They're going to establish a lot of these guys. They're going to be a fun team this year. That being said, they're not going to win it all. I know that for a fact. They're not paying out 400 to 1 or whatever the heck it is. And that I'll stand by. I'll shut down my channel if they win the whole thing. Yeah, I mean that 100%. There's no way, because that would mean that they're just paying the public out the ass, or maybe it's not rigged, which I just can't imagine. There's no way they're paying 400 to 1 when this team is one of the top teams in the handle. And speaking of that, I'm going to go into that too. I'm noticing a lot more articles on ESPN telling us who is being bet on, which teams the public like the most. 12% of the handles on this, 10% of the handles on this team. And I find it very fishy. There's the same when I used to go to Vegas Insider, and they would show me really weird stuff. Like a 50-50 game, and they have one team with a 90%, of the handle or something weird like that. So I'm wondering if these articles are to throw people off, because I saw 2 in a row showing golf handles, showing Victor Hovland in the top 5 as far as Vegas liabilities, meaning if he wins, people get paid pretty good. And he won 2 back-to-back tournaments after they went out of their way to tell us he was one of the top Vegas liabilities. So I find it interesting that they even use that term, Vegas liability. Why would we care? Obviously, we just want to, if it's all on the up and up, we're just picking our own games. Who cares what the public's picking? But they're making a lot more of these articles now, and I think it's almost like a reverse type of psychology where they're indicating to people, oh, everyone's hammering this side. And then people just subconsciously are like, oh, okay, well, then yeah, I doubt I'm going to get it too. I could be wrong. I just noticed they recently started posting these handles, and I don't think they make a lick of sense. Some of them, they just don't make sense to me. So yeah, I'll go into obviously more of the NFL. We're going to have most of the games. But I wanted to go into this one because it's my absolute favorite game of the week, which happens to be my lock of the week, if you will. If you want to call it a lock of the week, whatever. I don't like using the word lock, but I do because I don't know what else to call it. It's quicker than saying my most preferred matchup. But it is my, quote, lock of the week. The Lions here to cover the Chiefs. So I just wanted to go into that, cover how we did today. My opinion on Colorado, they did well for us. Like I said, we had that from the beginning. Essentially, they looked pretty obvious they were going to cover. For the people that sprinkled the money line, good job there. Oklahoma, good. And yeah, we're just closing units, and that's really all we want to do is close out sequences, profit the unit, move on. And Lions Chiefs, obviously, leg 3 is a big one. If the Lions were not to cover, no big deal. We'll close out the sequence, and you'll see we win way more than 7 for every 3-legged loss. So we're gonna profit many units. It's just a matter of how many. Like I said, if you go back last year, it was in the hundreds. So it's not to be braggadocious. It is just the facts. And if some people will come not having seen the playlist, not having seen last year's, you're again free to watch it. I encourage you to. But basically, it's just this. It's not the most fun, but I just go into who I like, why, and most importantly, afterwards, we don't just pretend the predictions didn't happen. I don't just pretend I didn't pick South Carolina and move on. I'm going to show you my leg 2, exactly how much we're going to be wagering. And, I'd like to say that's the reason people have flocked to this channel versus some of the other ones where, like all last year, all I saw was after the fact, oh, look, the breakdowns on the most obvious plays. This channel was made this way so people can profit in live time and actually get value from the rigged game versus just getting mad and shouting at an obvious guy selling. So that's what we're going to be doing all year. I will do more narratives, and I'll go into other videos, of course. I do like to go into symbolism, but most importantly, I always say it's important to have happy vibes and beat Vegas. So yeah, Lions cover Chiefs 7, buying that half point. Although I like them to win, and typically I wouldn't buy the half, I'm very stingy with that. I just like the full touchdown here. Just in case, you might have a 6-point game, then we get the win. Obviously, it's 6.5, you would anyway. But in case it's a full touchdown, just in case Lions lose by 7, I would like to get it'd be nice to get it back. So I typically don't buy points too much, but at minus 118, to me, that's fine. That's about how a line's going to be with some juice anyway, so I have no problem paying that little bit. When you start getting to like minus 130, now you have to consider if you want to have to bet 1.3 units if it's a leg 1 to only win 1. But in this case, I think it's an easy half point to buy. So yeah, Florida State, I like them tomorrow. That's a simple leg 1. And then coming up, my first play of the NFL season is the Lions to cover, and I would just keep my eye on the Lions this year. I think they're going to have a good year. Jahmyr Gibbs, there's going to be a lot of guys that I think have good year for that team. So a lot of good prop bets could be made. I like the over on their wins. and I like them to win the division. All about 50-50 odds, so obviously they're going to give you 50-50 odds on it over. But for them to win the division's right around 50-50 as well, and I think they do. So, again, thank you to everybody that's just been so supportive of the channel. As you know, we were shut down right around this point. Last channel, we were in the high 900s of generous people who decided to subscribe, and they shut us down on Christmas with literally no reason. I'll show the email in my next video. It's absolutely insane. It literally just says, for what might be spam, and I responded, appealed. When I realized it was going to fall on deaf ears, I just immediately made a new channel, and within 3 days we just continued. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, but you never know. We did get shut down before, so it's always a possibility. But thanks for everybody that just stuck with us and made it amazing in the Discord, on the channel, and we're doing really good. I think we're going to have an amazing year, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. If you really want another game covered, let me know so I can prioritize it. Obviously, I like the Jets. Bills is going to be a great week 1 game. There's a lot of ones coming up. There's some fishy ones. I went into the Niners, Steelers, very fishy in my opinion. So we'll be covering a lot of games. But this one, again, of all the picks we've made so far for both football, college and NFL, this is my absolute, probably my favorite pick. And it has been. It's not like it just happened. It has been ever since I saw the line. Maybe Colorado to cover because I knew they were going to make that game really close. So that might have been my absolute. But it's probably this one, to be honest, because in retrospect, it's easy to say Colorado covering because they did. But I just remember really liking this game from the second I saw it. And I can't imagine at less than 10 points, people are going to be hitting the Lions, even at a 40% clip. So again, thank you all. Take care and happy earnings.